I sincerely thank the director, Dr. Matthew Kochi, and other officers of Ecology Department of CSI Synod. It's not easy to take two classes within a gap of 24 hours, but I'm sure this class will also continue the arguments that I have made on the other day. Today we are dealing with two important books, Ephesians and Timothy. Ephesians and Timothy. There is a logic why both these books are taken together. Ephesians, as all of us know, there are many themes, overwhelming themes, connecting themes of the New Testament appear visibly in the book of Ephesians. And Timothy was written to the people who were in Ephesus. There is a kind of gap, a 10 years or 15 years gap between the Ephesians book as well as Timothy. It's part of pastoral epistle. I describe these things because I was sharing with your director the other day. This is a very enlightened group, theologically as well as secular. Your reading, your exposure, and your engagement, everything should be counted in terms of understanding the eco-concerns in these books. I also have word of appreciation to all of you because this is not the kind of spoon feeding, but high reading. I brand it a high reading because Earth Bible is not an easy stuff. Earth Bible is a product of a number of outstanding scholars who sat together, who took insights from their secular horizons and dimensions of life in the light of the ecological crisis that we face. And I would always say Earth Bible is a future study day to save the planet, to save our environment. Therefore, the study process, wherever we do, whatever form we do, it is important. And I know that I am talking to resource person, and you are taking classes in your dioceses, in your schools, in your colleges. So let this be a movement so that our labor in the Lord will not be in vain. It will be a successful labor. Okay, let us come to the readings today. Two articles are given for our reading. First article is Elmer Floor's article, The Cosmic Christ and Eco-Justice in the New Cosmos. Words are very important. The Cosmic Christ and Eco-Justice in the New Cosmos. And the author comes from Brazil. It's a Brazilian reading in terms of understanding what is the meaning of cosmic Christ. I'll come back to that. And the second reading is on Timothy, mainly 1 Timothy chapter 1, Paul Tribulesco, the goodness and holiness of the earth and the whole creation. So I'm sure at least you might have gone through the reading or glanced through the reading. Otherwise, listen to the summary of the reading that I'm going to give you. Now, part 1. Part 2 is the focus now. Let me talk briefly about Ephesians and the pastoral, particularly Timothy. And let's say first Timothy. And when we talk about Ephesians, many things come to our mind because Ephesians is the book that gives mainly 4 major themes in the New Testament. One is cosmic Christ, the theme of cosmic Christ. Cosmic Christ is more than the universal Christ. Cosmic Christ is more than the Lord of the universe. Cosmic Christ is the core of creation, goal of creation, purpose of creation, and it is the culmination of creation. God, purpose, and culmination of creation. That is cosmic Christ. Very difficult to understand the depth of that phrase. And whenever I teach the following thoughts to my students, I say it's only amazing, it's God's work, that the words spoken by Paul come in this way. He says very clearly and prayerfully, in Christ, for Christ, through Christ, everything is created. Of course, it is in Colossians, but Ephesians you see more or less similar phrases. So, cosmic Christ is the God, purpose, and culmination of the creation. Second, the main aspect idea that is in Ephesians is reconciliation and peace. Reconciliation and peace. See, if myself and Dr. Matthew Koshi, we have been friends. Academically friends, theologically friends, of course, ecclesiastically also friends. The other day when he was going to Kanyakumari, he made it a point to come through my seminary, spend there about 10 minutes, had a cup of tea. It is a kind of renewal of friendship. So reconciliation and peace, human terms, we should go beyond that understanding. Human relationship is important for Ephesians. Remember that. Without human relationship, there is no reconciliation. It is not a theoretical level reconciliation. It is clearly divinely ordained reconciliation. And the result of that reconciliation is peace. That is the message of Ephesians. So, two messages. One is the cosmic Christ, I'm sure that is clear. And the second message is about the reconciliation. That is the result of reconciliation is peace. Then a Greek word is used. I think some of you have done your BD. I first say that Greek word and then I come to the translation. It's called Eco-Theology. It is building up, building up. It is not the earthly construction or physical construction, rather the building up of relationship, building up of community, building up of eco-environment, building up of justice. So that is major concern of Ephesians. I would say more than cosmic Christ, the eco-justice concerns coming in that aspect, building up aspect. And the fourth concern in Ephesians is very clear. He's talking about the household code. Household code. And the codes always say, obey your husband, obey your, love your children, all those things. But it is superficially taken. But read carefully. The text is every aspect of human life, every aspect of community life. So in that sense, Ephesians is a book that talks about the life that is given to everyone. That life that is given to not only the people who lived in Ephesus, but all readers, irrespective of their color, creed, and race, but it is also given to everyone created by God, not only human beings, every creation. Having said this, let me come to the cosmic Christ and eco-justice in the new gospel. That article written by Elmer Flaw, Brazil. It is a 6-page article. If you have gone through the article, you will understand this article is not written in a kind of very high academic stuff style. It's a kind of conversation. Brazilian and Australian concerns are coming together. Very interesting article. I think some of you have read. I could see your face and the interest of that article. If you haven't read, listen to me, I will give you the gist and direction, then you kindly read, make it a point to read that. Very interesting article, simple English, but how that is connected, that is connected. Some echoes and it can't follow. Okay, let me. Well, Elmer Flock's main argument is he brings some ideas where Columbus began. And Columbus is glorified as a person, scientifically found something, explored something. But Elmer Flock says he explored, but he hegemonically dominated the earth. And the term used in that article is a very powerful term, says hemisphere rape. Columbus explored, but it was an attempt, not a rape attempt, but rape. That's how the earth was destroyed. So the colonialism is very critically analyzed, criticized, evaluated by the person from an eco-justice point of view. See, the other day I made a positive reference about the colonial atrocities, very positive in the light of the book of Hebrews, one sentence. But today I would like to draw your attention to the extent of resources exploited by the colonial masters from 14th to 20th century. Of over 5-6 centuries, across the globe, so many exploitations happened. And the earthly resources were explored, were exploited, looted, and that's how earth was destroyed. And the eco-justice, when we talk about cosmic Christ, there is a fear, there is an element of pain, lament, cry in the eyes of Jesus Christ. The cosmic Christ is not a Christ that's dominating Christ, but a Christ who shows pain, agony, anxiety when the earth is destroyed. And that's how we need to understand the whole question of Ephesians and cosmic Christ in the light of this article. Okay, I think audio is still giving some problem. I think majority of you, since you follow, let me go like this. I don't want to discontinue and do again, but we will continue. Anyway, it is recorded and then it will be given to you. You can go through again. So the issue of power and domination should be taken very seriously. When you talk about cosmic Christ, when you talk about the Christ who dominates, it is not the earthly physical domination, but the Christ who gives you a new path of understanding, a new path of justice, a new path of protecting the nature. And finally, the article says, life sins in all. So cosmic Christ is a life giver, not life destroyer, but life-giving Christ. That is the main argument of this article. So let us come to Ephesians. Ephesians giving us major theme, but the main theme is, the core theme is cosmic Christ. Cosmic Christ is the understanding that's concerned about the identity of the earth, the existence of the earth. So we as human beings, we have a responsibility to draw insight from our reading of the Bible. As followers of Christ, we have a responsibility to understand Christ in that manner. And Ephesians also talks about the body of Christ. So body of Christ is certainly not to be destroyed, but to be protected. Church, body of Christ, when we say very casually, we say, but that is not the full stop. It should continue, and we should go beyond our understanding of church and body of Christ from the eco-justice point of view. Coming to the second article, Timothy, the author's name is Paul Trebelko, and the article name is The Goodness and Holiness of the Earth and the Whole Creation. It is known as pastoral epistle. So probably something to do with the pastor's teaching. But the main concern of this article is, or this book is, about a community. Pastoral epistle means it is talking about the community. The community in the first century, immediately after the death and resurrection of Jesus. What is the basis of Roman Timothy? The congregation, small community, not Roman Empire, not Herodian thing, but basic congregation. So that's how we should understand. And the pastoral epistle, particularly Timothy, promotes eco-justice in terms of community values, not giving doctrines and ethical norms, but community values. And the community values connecting every creature. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 4 it talks about every creature, and it is an echo of Genesis 1:32, and we should take note of that. Every creature in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 4, an echo of Genesis 1:32. And Timothy also gives a reference, God for salvation, God of salvation for all. God of salvation for all. All is important. All is not only Greek Christians or Jewish Christians, human beings, but for all, like the Romans, all creation. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verses 3 and 4, talking about that. Then the message of Timothy is also stewardship, custodianship. Custodianship of the earthly things, custodianship of the earth, and all the resources for everyone. And what is the reason behind we should interact with the earth community? We should interact with the earth resources because it's good and holy. It's good and holy. Paul Trebelko's article, Goodness and Holiness of the Earth, is mainly talking about that. We should interact with the community because it's earth and good and holy. So we have tried to see mainly two things: the relationship between Ephesians and Timothy. Because Timothy was written in the people of Ephesus, and Ephesians was written around 60-65. Then the later, after 10 years or 15 years, Timothy appears, because there is a progression of thought that we see. And two articles, Elmer Floor's article, The Cosmic Christ and Eco-Justice in the New Cosmos, a Brazilian and Australian viewpoints coming together, criticizing colonialism. Colonialism is not geographical domination, not only geographical domination, but also the looting of exploitation of all the earthly resources. And Elmer Floor calls it as hemisphere rape, raping the earth. And power and dominion, hegemonic things should go from the body of Christ. But we should talk about life things in all. And the second article, Paul Trebelko, talking about the goodness and holiness of the earth and the whole creation. That is the purpose of our existence, and our calling is to promote good and holy, goodness and holiness. These are the arguments, and I'm sure by studying Ephesians and Timothy, we will be able to gain insight as far as eco-justice concerns, eco-theological concerns, in terms of promoting those concerns. Once again, thank you for listening. Though there were some interruptions and issue of clarity, I'm sure the recorded things will come to you so that you can go through again and learn more. Thank you very much.